Well, all right, all right, all right. Not sure who needs to hear this, but you're gonna hear it because here we are. Five things. Fruit flies edition. You ever curious about fruit flies? Ever thought about fruit flies? Like, not there one day, and then as soon as you bring a piece of fruit into your home and it sits for a couple of days, miraculously, they appear. Come out of nowhere, seemingly come right out of nowhere. So I thought, what else kind of just seems to come out of nowhere when certain conditions are right? This thing happens. I thought, well, maybe there's some funny in there somewhere and some tragic in there somewhere. It's like everything in life, there's two sides to the whole deal. So, Fruit Fly Edition, five things. Let's go. So I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, where do fruit flies come from? And they said, well, they seem to appear out of nowhere, but they actually come from eggs laid by adult fruit flies. It says that they're attracted to overripe or rotting fruit, fermenting fruit, and that adult females lay their eggs on or near the surface of the overripe or decaying fruit, hundreds of eggs at a time. They hatch into larvae, blah, 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 blah. So I think that we're missing the point because I get it that fruit flies come from eggs laid by adult female fruit flies. Where do the adult female fruit flies come from? That's the thing. Are they just always around? Are they are they constantly on patrol? Are they like trolling? Like if you're fishing, you go really kind of slow, just kind of driving your boat. Is that what the program is with fruit flies? Are they just always looking for opportunities? And then they notice, oh, inside that house right there, there's a banana. It's been sitting there for 3 days. It's time. It's time to go lay eggs. It's a gamble because maybe they're going to eat it today. But if they don't eat that banana today, whew, that's when the eggs are going to hatch. It's going to be our time. Our time. I don't know. Super confusing. ChatGPT today is not helpful, is probably more, I'm left with more questions than I have answers. But anyway, what else? What else seemed to come out of the woodwork or just appear out of nowhere? Number five. Let's go with number five. We'll go in reverse order with, I don't know if number one is worse than number five, but we have to give things and assign them numbers. So number five, politicians, specifically politicians and their interest in their constituents during election season. Number five. See, politicians don't actually care about me or you, or at least it doesn't seem that way. They have a lot of interest in raising money and soliciting donations from people all over the place, not necessarily just their constituents. And so you don't really hear from your politicians too often up until election season. And then, due to the wonder of technology, all you hear about is these politicians. I mean, how many text messages we're getting every day during the last election cycle? And how many text messages are you getting right now that the election cycle is over? Those fruit flies gone back to wherever it is that the political fruit flies hang out. Number four, looters. Oh my goodness. This is a lot more direct, isn't it? When something bad happens, they just show up. So, God, what's a better metaphor than a fruit fly for a looter? Well, we can probably get really aggressive with it, but it's got to be the lowest. Love the low. Some of the lowest organisms on planet Earth are constantly, I guess, waiting for the opportunity to go steal stuff. When there's a natural disaster or a fire or whatever, you've got looters that show up to try to get money, steal property. My gosh, you got to be a real piece of shit to do that. Maybe that should be number one, but it's number four. Number three. Number three. Homeless people when you allow homelessness. This one's pretty direct. But again, I don't know where they necessarily show up. Right now in Los Angeles, there are, who really knows? Who really knows how many homeless people are in Los Angeles? But I grew up in a town in northern Minnesota called Duluth, Minnesota, and there were about 80,000 people in my entire town. And I think that that is about the same number of people that are currently homeless in Los Angeles. If you just took my entire town, which is not a small town, 80,000 people is a good size area, and just dumped them on the streets of Los Angeles. But here's the thing. There's a game recognized game. I get it. I've been to Los Angeles. I've been to the beach, and I like being at the beach in Los Angeles. So, if you allow people to just live at the beach without owning a house at the beach, they're going to do that. So, let's add another layer to that, and that I'm a pretty successful person, but no way am I anywhere near having the ability to buy real estate on the beach in anywhere, certainly in Los Angeles, California. So, the fruit fly effect is when you allow one person to live at the beach on the street without a home, more people are going to come to live at the beach without a home. So that's pretty direct. Now, it's not oh my God, that world famous Chris Farley skit, the whole van down by the river. What was his name? Shoot, I'm not gonna be able to pull the character's name. Was it Ned? He's been drinking coffee down in the basement for a couple hours, getting ready to talk to you kids. Shows up. You're going to be living in a van down by the river. Well, turns out that that worked. That was an actually pretty motivational message for a lot of people who are now interested in living in vans down by a river, or in this example, next to the ocean. So you telling me that I can get a van and then get it somehow in front of just on the street and just live there, and that's fine? Sweet. You know what? I've talked myself into it. Might just shut the podcast. I'm getting some beachside real estate pretty soon here. All right. Anyway, what number are we at? That was number three. So number two. Number two. Novel legal theories. When you just gotta get somebody, but you have no standing to get that person. You go ahead and go after them. I was just listening to Mark Zuckerberg on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and he was talking about how Elizabeth Warren went after them using some very obscure tactics, I think like the Consumer Finance Bureau or something like that, which normally deals with banking, and they're just the whole Russia communist quote was, "Show me the man and I'll show you the crime," which obviously simply means that, you know, we don't need to have a crime first to try to arrest somebody and throw them in jail. Let's just arrest them, throw them in jail, and then we'll come up with the crime afterwards, kind of thing. And obviously, whether or not you like Donald Trump or you don't, looking at some of the prosecutions that were brought against him were pretty head scratching from my perspective and from a lot of people's perspective. Maybe not yours, but if you are not able to see that there was some fuckery going on with those, then I think you need to change your aperture a little bit. Push back from the table and realize that we, with the rule of law in the United States, a big part of that is we need to have court systems that are fair and balanced and blind regardless of who it is that is standing in the courtroom, we need to give people a fair shake at beating novel legal theories that people pull out of thin air like fruit flies to get the people that they want to get. Then I get it. I mean, some stuff that Trump says is pretty maddening. A lot of stuff that he does will drive you crazy, and it's broken a lot of people's brains. All things tricky. But if we can just remind ourselves that I certainly wouldn't want to be in the position where I was being prosecuted and didn't really have a fair shake at a fair and balanced trial, whatever that term might be. So it's another thing coming out of the woodwork. Show me the man, I will show you the crime. We don't want to go down that path, I do not think. In fact, I know. One of the branches of government is the judiciary, and it's just such an important thing. We need to protect. Number one, my five things today, Fruit Flies edition, are of course grifters. Grifters. Yes. People looking to monetarily capitalize on negative things, on trends. Where is this showing up? I think you could probably point back in the day, not that long ago, to future of work type people. I mean, direct offense to you if you are a future of work expert. For many, many, many years, I would tune in to these talks about the future of work. And all they would say is that just work in the future is going to be different than it is today. So we have to be able to pivot. Got it. Helpful. But today we have, of course, AI experts. AI experts. And if you are on the platform LinkedIn, you probably have been solicited and hit up by people who are AI experts in whatever your business or industry is. AI experts out of the woodwork, like fruit flies springing up out of nowhere. Remember NFTs? Do you remember NFTs? Well, there were a lot of NFT experts, and maybe they're now ooh. Are all of our new AI, newly minted AI experts, are they former NFT experts? And are those former NFT experts former future of work experts? What's the next link in the chain? What was the previous iterations of that? I should have probably thought through that a little bit more because not probably going to be able to think of what the last thing was, but I'm probably onto something right there. Obviously, I don't know where crypto fits into that necessarily. I guess just right before NFT or right around the same time as NFT, and still probably a lot of that going on. Now, of course, we have race grifters and climate change grifters, and there's just people that will come out of the woodwork regardless of what the thing is to try to capitalize and make money on it. So, there you have it. Five things, Fruit Fly edition. I know that I'm probably missing on some of the most obvious ones. I'm forgetting about the most obvious ones. So please let me know. Please let me know who I omitted, who I should add in, because it's kind of a fun exercise to go through. It's fruit flies, crazy deal, come out of nowhere. Now we discovered that they just come from eggs laid by female adult fruit flies who come out of nowhere. But what else? What else comes out of nowhere to capitalize on a certain circumstance or happening? I would love to hear it. As always, do your part, doing your best.